Have you ever found yourself thinking, in the midst of your spiritual journey, why, despite all your growth, meditation, reading, and self-knowledge, the feeling of isolation persists? It seems that as you move towards enlightenment, the people around you become more and more distant. The great transformation has begun. If this content resonated with you, share it with your friends and family so they can awaken too. Leave your comment below. We'd love to hear how this message impacted you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following this spiritual journey. Together, we'll raise our consciousness for the new earth. Those friendships that once felt so significant suddenly seem to lose their luster. Romantic relationships that used to bring comfort and support now feel empty or even non-existent. And amidst all this, you ask yourself, what is happening to me? Is there something wrong with my journey? Why do I feel so alone, so disconnected? If these questions echo in your mind, know that you are not alone in this feeling. Many of those who walk the deep spiritual path go through this same phase. And no, this is not an accident. It's not that you've lost your way or are doing something wrong. On the contrary, this feeling of isolation, as painful and disconcerting as it may be, is actually a sign that you are heading in the right direction. It is a crucial phase of the spiritual awakening process, especially for those who are among the chosen, friends and family, so they can awaken too. Leave your comment below. We'd love to hear how this message impacted you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following this spiritual journey. Together, we'll raise our consciousness for the new earth. In this video, we will delve into why chosen ones often feel alone. We'll discuss what it means to be a chosen one in this world, the spiritual and energetic reasons behind social distancing, and how this solitude, far from being a curse, is a disguised blessing. We will also address how you can find strength, purpose, and inner peace even in the moments of greatest external disconnection. Imagine for a moment. When you were younger, you probably engaged more easily in conversations, social groups, and even romantic relationships, right? Everything seemed simpler, as if life was an easy dance to follow. However, as you began to awaken spiritually, this dance changed. Suddenly, the conversations that used to fill your hours no longer seemed to make sense. The interactions that once brought joy now seem superficial, empty. And the people you thought would be your companions for life begin to drift away. You may feel misunderstood, as if no one around you can truly grasp the depth of what you are going through. You may try to explain your new perceptions, your spiritual experiences, but those around you look at you with a mix of confusion and disbelief. The great transformation has begun. If this content resonated with you, share it with your friends and family so they can awaken too. Leave your comment below. We'd love to hear how this message impacted you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following this spiritual journey. Together, we'll raise our consciousness for the new earth. And then, slowly, you begin to isolate yourself. Maybe initially it was by choice, to avoid the discomfort of trying to repeatedly explain yourself to those who can't or won't understand. Or perhaps the people around you started to pull away from you without you knowing exactly why. Either way, loneliness began to set in, and with it, questions began to arise. Why am I so alone? Why does it seem like everyone is distancing themselves? Is there something wrong with me? The truth is that this loneliness is not a curse, but an inevitable phase of growth for those who have been called to something greater. As a chosen one, you are here to fulfill a unique mission, a mission that many around you still cannot understand. And with this mission comes a deep process of purification and realignment. As you elevate your consciousness, the old energies and connections that are no longer aligned with your new vibration begin to disintegrate. And this can be painful. It may seem as though the universe is taking away everything and everyone you love from your life. But in reality, what is happening is a reconfiguration. Life is clearing the way so that new, deeper, and more authentic connections can emerge at the right time. The great transformation has begun. If this content resonated with you, share it with your friends and family so they can awaken too. Leave your comment below. We'd love to hear how this message impacted you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following this spiritual journey. Together, we'll raise our consciousness for the new earth. Being one of the chosen means carrying a different light, a light that not everyone is ready to see or understand. This light can be unsettling to those still immersed in the dense energies of the material world. And that's why, often, people pull away. They don't know how to deal with the change they see in you. They feel, even unconsciously, that you are vibrating at a different frequency, and this difference can cause discomfort. Thus, the connections that once seemed unshakable begin to dissolve, not because you are wrong or failing at something, but because you are evolving. And this evolution often requires periods of solitude. And here is the crucial point. This solitude is temporary. It is not an end in itself, but a phase of transition. During this period, you are being called to turn inward, to strengthen your connection with the divine, to cultivate a deeper relationship with your own soul. When all external distractions are removed, that is the moment when you can truly begin to hear the inner voice, the spiritual guidance that has always been with you but may have been muffled by the noise of the outer world. The great transformation has begun. If this content resonated with you, share it with your friends and family so they can awaken too. Leave your comment below. We'd love to hear how this message impacted you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following this spiritual journey. Together, we'll raise our consciousness for the new earth. However, I know that for many, this solitude can seem endless. It can feel as though you are destined to walk alone forever, without friends, without a partner, without anyone to share your journey with. But I am here to tell you, this is not true. While chosen ones often go through long periods of isolation, this does not mean that you will be alone forever. In fact, this time of solitude is a preparation. You are being refined, strengthened, and elevated so that when new connections enter your life, they are deep, meaningful, and truly aligned with who you have become. The souls that are meant to walk with you will appear at the right time. But before that happens, you must first complete the process of aligning with yourself. During this period, instead of fighting the solitude, embrace it. See it as an opportunity for growth, an invitation to deepen your spiritual practice, to know yourself and your divine purpose more deeply. Solitude can be challenging, but it is also a gift, for it is in this space that we find our true strength and connection with the universe. So if you feel alone right now, know that this is part of your journey. You are being prepared for something greater. And in the meantime, remember, you are never truly alone. The universe, your spiritual guides, and the divine are always with you, even in moments of deepest isolation. You might be wondering, if this solitude is part of my growth, then why does it hurt so much? Why does it seem so unfair that while others are surrounded by friends and relationships, I am here, alone? It is completely normal to feel this pain. As human beings, we are naturally wired to seek connection. Since ancient times, we have been programmed as a species to live in community, to find support in our peers, to share our experiences, challenges, and victories. However, when you are a chosen one, your journey diverges from traditional paths. And that does not mean that you don't deserve love, friendship, or connection. It means that the kind of connection you are destined to have is much deeper and more meaningful than what most people experience. Let's reflect for a moment. Most of the connections you see in the world today, especially on social media, are superficial. People are constantly seeking external validation, approval, attention. But these relationships are often built on fragile foundations, based on appearances, status, or convenience. They may look shiny and appealing on the outside, but inside, many of these connections lack depth, authenticity, and soul. As a chosen one, you cannot settle for that. You are called to live on a higher level of consciousness, where superficiality has no place. And that is why, often, before you can attract the true and deep connections that resonate with your soul, you must go through a period of solitude. This period of solitude is, in fact, a phase of purification. Imagine that you are being sculpted by divine forces. Every experience of solitude, every moment when you feel disconnected, is like a chisel that is removing the old layers of you, the parts that no longer serve your highest purpose. And by the end of this process, what remains is your purest essence, the one that is truly aligned with the mission you came here to fulfill on this planet. Now, I know that for many, this may sound like a beautiful speech, but distant from the reality they live. Solitude can be crushing. It can be difficult to wake up every day without someone by your side to share your hopes, dreams, or even daily challenges. It can be devastating to see others in your circles building lives with friends, partners, families, while you feel stuck in a social void. But it is precisely in this void that the real spiritual work happens. The great transformation has begun. If this content resonated with you, share it with your friends and family so they can awaken too. Leave your comment below. We'd love to hear how this message impacted you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following this spiritual journey. Together, we'll raise our consciousness for the new earth. Many of the great spiritual masters in history went through long periods of isolation. Buddha meditated in solitude under the Bodhi tree before achieving enlightenment. Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert facing his trials. Even great sages and shamans from ancient cultures sought isolation in the mountains, forests, or deserts to connect deeply with the divine and find answers for their souls. And you, as a chosen one, are undergoing a similar journey. Your solitude is a spiritual training ground. It is preparing you for the great mission that lies ahead. At this point, you may be asking, what exactly does it mean to be a chosen one? What makes some people called to this journey of solitude and spiritual growth, while others seem to follow easier, more socially accepted paths? Being a chosen one does not mean you are superior to others. It is not a position of arrogance or vanity. On the contrary, being a chosen one means that you have accepted, on a deep level, the responsibility to elevate the consciousness of this planet. This is not something you necessarily chose consciously, but rather a mission that your soul accepted before you incarnated here. And this mission requires a level of preparation and purification that many around you cannot comprehend. Throughout your life, you've probably noticed that you've always been a little different. Perhaps even in childhood, you felt like you didn't quite fit in. Maybe you were more introspective, more questioning, more sensitive to the energies around you. You might have been deeply affected by injustices that others ignored, or had an innate sense that there was more to life than what was being shown to you. These are signs that you were always aligned with your mission as a chosen one. As you grew and matured spiritually, this feeling of being different probably intensified. And while others around you followed the path of conformity, seeking traditional careers, conventional relationships, lifestyles based on materialism, you began to feel a calling for something deeper, more authentic, more true. However, this calling often comes with a cost, the cost of solitude. As you move away from the path most people follow, the connections you used to have begin to dissolve. Not because you or they did something wrong, but because you are on different vibrational frequencies. It's as if you are tuning into a spiritual radio station, while others are still stuck on stations of static noise. And this is painful. It is painful to see relationships that once brought so much comfort disintegrate. It is painful to realize that the conversations you used to have with friends or family members now seem trivial and irrelevant. But this is the process of growth. In order to rise, you must leave behind everything that no longer resonates with your new frequency. And here is an important truth. The further you progress on your spiritual journey, the more selective the universe becomes about the people and energies that can enter your life. The old connections, which were based on egoic patterns or denser energies, simply can no longer exist in the same vibrational space as you. And that's why many chosen ones experience solitude at some point in their journeys. They are being elevated to a level of consciousness where only those souls who are truly aligned with their highest purpose can enter. But here's the silver lining. This solitude doesn't last forever. It is temporary and part of a natural cycle of spiritual growth. As you continue to evolve, you will begin to attract new connections, new souls who are vibrating at the same frequency as you. These will be the true relationships based on authenticity, spirituality, and divine purpose. And these connections will be far deeper and more meaningful than any you've experienced before. But for that to happen, you must go through the phase of solitude. You need to purify, realign, and strengthen yourself internally to be ready for these new connections. Being a chosen one is, undoubtedly, a challenging but deeply transformative mission. When we talk about the chosen, we are referring to those who have been called to a greater spiritual purpose, individuals who carry a unique energy, with the responsibility of raising the planet's vibration. This mission is not for everyone, and that's why the chosen, at some point in their journey, begin to feel disconnected from the energies of the world around them. With the elevation of consciousness, something extraordinary happens. The dense energies that once were part of the chosen's daily life begin to lose strength. Imagine that, up to a certain point, you were tuned to a frequency similar to that of most people around you. You shared experiences, thoughts, and vibrations that were on a common level of understanding and existence. However, as you progress spiritually, this energetic alignment unravels. You start vibrating at a higher frequency, while many around you still remain in previous frequencies, in denser energies. This energetic disconnection is the first sign that you are on a different, higher path. What does this mean in practice? It means that suddenly the friendships that seemed solid and lasting begin to dissolve. The conversations that once brought satisfaction now seem empty and irrelevant. Relationships that once offered comfort and support begin to lose their depth, often becoming superficial or even uncomfortable. This process can be extremely painful, as it feels like the foundations of your social and emotional life are crumbling. However, this feeling of loss is not a sign of failure, but of evolution. You are moving to a new level of existence, and not everyone can follow you on this journey. This doesn't mean that those who drift away from you are wrong or on a lesser path. Each person is on their own journey, at their own pace of spiritual growth. But as you elevate your vibration, it is natural that those connections that no longer resonate with your new frequency begin to dissipate. This is the moment when many chosen ones find themselves in deep solitude. And this solitude, which may seem overwhelming at first, is actually a divine invitation for introspection and alignment with your highest spiritual purpose. When all distractions and connections that no longer serve your spiritual growth are removed, you have the opportunity to turn inward, to explore your own soul, and to discover your true essence. The solitude of the chosen, though difficult, is one of the greatest disguised blessings the universe can offer. It is a phase of intense preparation, a moment when you are called to disconnect from the expectations, opinions, and external energies, and to reconnect deeply with yourself and the divine. It is in this space of silence and introspection that you can hear your own inner voice, the one that is often drowned out by the noise of the world around you. This is the voice of your soul, your true essence, and it is this voice that guides you toward your highest spiritual purpose. Many of the spiritual gifts that the chosen possess, intuition, healing abilities, deep wisdom, begin to develop and flourish during this period of solitude. When you distance yourself from the distractions of the outer world, you create space for your connection with the divine to strengthen. This is the moment when you can begin to hear the inner guidance more clearly, recognize the signs the universe is sending, and understand the true purpose of your journey. One of the great lessons that the solitude of the chosen brings is the need to cultivate a deeper relationship with yourself and with the divine. When human connections dissolve, you are called to seek a connection that is infinitely more powerful and enduring. Your connection with the Source, with the universe, with the Creator. This is a connection that never disappears, that never fails, and that is always available to you, even in the most challenging moments. Solitude provides the necessary space for you to build this sacred relationship. Without the distractions and expectations of the outer world, you can begin to align with the energy of the divine in a way you've never experienced before. And the deeper this connection becomes, the more you will be able to access the guidance, love, and support that is always at your disposal. When you truly understand and feel this connection, the feeling of loneliness begins to fade, for you realize that even in the moments of greatest isolation, you are never truly alone. Being a chosen one means carrying a different light. You are here to light the way, to be a beacon of elevated consciousness in a world often immersed in the darkness of spiritual ignorance. And this light, this elevated vibration, often disturbs those who are not yet ready for the journey of ascension. Imagine walking through a dark tunnel and suddenly you turn on a bright light. Those who are accustomed to the darkness may feel uncomfortable, confused, or even scared by your light. They may not be ready to see what this light reveals, the truths it illuminates, the shadows it exposes. In the same way, when you begin to vibrate at a higher frequency, many of the people around you may feel uncomfortable. They may not understand what is happening to you, why you are changing, why you are no longer the same person as before. And in many cases, they may pull away, not out of malice, but because they are not yet ready for this new energy you are bringing. This can be painful, especially when it involves people you love and with whom you've shared great moments of your life. But it is important to remember that the distance from these people is not a reflection of something wrong with you or your journey. On the contrary, it is a sign that you are growing, that you are elevating to a new level of consciousness. And while it may seem like you are losing connections, you are actually being called to cultivate a deeper relationship with yourself and the divine. The solitude you are experiencing now is a phase of preparation. The universe is clearing the way so that when the right time comes, you can attract connections that are truly aligned with your mission and spiritual essence. Relationships based on superficial or egoistic patterns can no longer sustain themselves in the new energy you are emanating. But instead of seeing this as a loss, see it as an opportunity. You are being prepared for connections that are much deeper and more meaningful. When you are in resonance with your true spiritual essence, you begin to attract people who are also aligned with this same frequency. These will be the relationships that support and nurture your spiritual journey. They will be based on authenticity, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of who you really are. These relationships will not be based on neediness, superficial expectations, or egoistic patterns, but rather on a true soul connection. It is in this space of solitude that the chosen find an inner peace that transcends understanding. By distancing yourself from the distractions of the outer world, you are creating space for true connection, the one that resonates with your mission and spiritual essence. And this connection, when cultivated, brings a peace that no external connection can offer. It is a peace that comes from being fully aligned with your spiritual purpose, from the certainty that you are exactly where you should be, doing exactly what you should be doing. When the distractions of the outer world disappear, a new space opens up within you. It is in this space that a profound internal transformation takes place. The solitude of the chosen is not just a moment of reflection, but also one of reinvention. During this phase, you are challenged to look inside yourself and confront parts of your soul that might otherwise remain hidden or neglected. It is common during this period for old emotional wounds to surface. Things you thought were resolved or didn't even know existed begin to emerge. This can include childhood traumas, patterns of self-sabotage, or issues of self-worth. Solitude offers the perfect environment for you to finally face these issues head-on. Without external distractions, you have no choice but to confront and heal these parts of yourself. This is one of the reasons why the solitude of the chosen can be so challenging. You are not just dealing with a lack of social connection, but also with an internal cleansing that can be painful and uncomfortable. But it is precisely this process of emotional and spiritual purification that prepares you for the next level of your journey. Just as gold must be refined in fire to remove its impurities, you too are going through a refining process that will make you stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your spiritual purpose. When you are a chosen one, there is a spiritual responsibility that you carry with you. You have been called to elevate the collective consciousness of humanity, and this requires that you are in a constant state of personal evolution. It is not an easy task, and not everyone is ready to walk this path. However, those who accept this mission are rewarded with a deeper understanding of the nature of existence and a closer connection with the divine. As you continue to elevate your consciousness, you begin to realize that many of the things you once considered important, like status, material success, or social approval, lose their value. Instead, you start to focus on what truly matters: your spiritual evolution, your internal growth, and your positive impact on the world. And it is at this point that many chosen ones find themselves increasingly distant from the values of society in general. The world we live in values superficial things: fame, wealth, power. But the chosen are on a path that goes beyond these illusions. They are here to create a new reality based on love, compassion, authenticity, and spiritual connection. And to do this, it is often necessary to distance oneself from the old system and the old ways of thinking and living. This distancing may increase the feeling of loneliness, but it is important to remember that you are not isolating yourself without reason. You are distancing yourself from a system that no longer resonates with your inner truth, so that you can build something new, something aligned with your mission and spiritual truth. The chosen can be compared to spiritual warriors. Just as a warrior undergoes rigorous training before entering battle, the chosen undergo intense periods of solitude and introspection before fulfilling their mission. These moments of solitude are like the forge, where your inner strength is tempered. During these periods, you learn to trust yourself and the divine more deeply. You discover that even when it seems like there is no one by your side, you have an inner strength that is unshakable. This strength is essential for the journey of the chosen. When you begin to fulfill your mission, you will encounter challenges and resistance. Not everyone will understand or accept your light, and some may even try to extinguish it. But the time you spent in solitude, developing your inner strength, will be what allows you to remain firm in your truth, regardless of external circumstances. The path of the spiritual warrior is a path of self-mastery. You learn to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions in a way that is always aligned with your spiritual purpose. And this is something that can only truly be learned in solitude, where you have no external distractions and can fully focus on your internal growth. While the solitude of the chosen requires strength, it also teaches about the importance of vulnerability. Being vulnerable does not mean being weak, but rather being open and honest with yourself and others about your experiences and emotions. Many chosen ones tend to hide their vulnerability out of fear of being judged or misunderstood. But throughout your journey of solitude, you discover that it is precisely in vulnerability that true strength lies. When you accept your vulnerability, you become more authentic. And authenticity is one of the greatest gifts a chosen one can offer the world. By being vulnerable and sharing your experiences, challenges, and triumphs, you inspire others to do the same. You create a space where others can also be authentic, without fear of judgment or rejection. This vulnerability is also what will allow you to attract true connections in the future. As you advance on your spiritual journey, you will begin to realize that the people who are drawn into your life are at a similar level of consciousness. They too are seeking authenticity, truth, and deep spiritual connection. And by being vulnerable and authentic, you open the doors to these meaningful connections. While the solitude of the chosen may seem endless, it is important to remember that it is just a phase of the journey. As you continue to align with your spiritual purpose and elevate your consciousness, new connections will begin to appear in your life. These connections will be very different from those you had in the past. They will not be based on superficiality or convenience, but on deep spiritual resonance. These new connections may include spiritual friends, mentors, life partners, or even entire communities that are vibrating at the same frequency as you. These people will understand and appreciate your journey, and you will be able to support each other on your spiritual paths. And most importantly, these connections will be true, authentic, and deeply meaningful. This is one of the most beautiful rewards of the journey of the chosen. After going through solitude, you will be rewarded with relationships that are much more aligned with who you really are. Relationships that not only bring joy and support, but also help you fulfill your spiritual mission in the world. The chosen are not alone in their mission, even though they often feel that way. There are millions of other chosen ones around the world, all working to elevate collective consciousness and create a new reality based on love, compassion, and authenticity. At times, it may seem like you are the only one on your journey, but the truth is that you are part of a global network of awakened souls, all working together, even unconsciously, to transform the world. As you progress on your journey and begin to attract true spiritual connections, you will also start to realize that you are contributing to something much greater than yourself. You are part of a collective mission, and every chosen one has a unique and essential role to play in this process. Whether through healing, teaching, leading, or simply elevating your own vibration, you are helping to create a new world.